In the quiet corners of our communities, there are stories that refuse to fade away. Stories of lives cut short, of families left wondering, of justice denied. These are the unsolved mysteries that haunt us. They linger in the air like a thick fog, obscuring the truth. Two such stories have cast long shadows over their respective towns. The deaths of David Reed and Doris Arndt, separated by years and miles yet bound by a common thread of tragedy. Their cases remain open, their killers unpunished, and it's time for the truth to emerge from the shadows. David Reed was a man with his whole life ahead of him. Born in 1960, he grew up in a small town where everyone knew your name. He was the kind of guy who'd help you change a tire in the rain. David Reed, as David Reed. I had a smile that could light up a room and a laugh that was infectious. By 1985, I was 25 years old. I had dreams, big ones. I wanted to start my own business, maybe settle down and start a family. He was saving up, working long hours at the local factory. His co-workers remember him as hard-working and always ready with a joke. On weekends, you'd find David out fishing or working on his old pickup truck, but David Reed's story was cut tragically short. The morning of July 16, 1985 dawned bright and clear, but for David Reed's family and friends, it was the beginning of a nightmare. David hadn't come home, he wasn't at work, nobody had seen him since the previous evening. Then, the devastating news came. David's body was found in a ditch off a lonely country road. There were no signs of a struggle. Police officer as police officer. But David Reed was a healthy young man in the prime of his life. This wasn't natural, this was murder. The autopsy revealed a shocking truth. David had been poisoned. The investigation hit dead end after dead end. David Reed's murder became another unsolved mystery. 8 years before David Reed's tragic end, another life was cut short.
I was a vibrant woman of 29 when I died in 1977. Friends said I was a force of nature, always laughing, always moving.
Doris had a zest for life that was contagious. She worked as a waitress at the local diner, but that was just to pay the bills.
I had big dreams. I wanted to be a writer.
She had a way with words that could make you laugh or cry.
I was taking night classes at the community college, sending out short stories to magazines.
Rejection letters piled up, but Doris kept at it.
I was also a devoted daughter and sister.
Doris had a big heart and an even bigger smile. But on a crisp autumn night in 1977, Doris Arndt's light was extinguished far too soon. October 12, 1977. It was a Wednesday like any other.
Doris finished her shift at the diner, said goodbye to her co-workers, and headed home. She never made it.
The next morning, her car was found abandoned on the side of the road. There was no sign of Doris.
2 days later, Doris's body was discovered in a wooded area just outside of town. Unlike David Reed's peaceful appearance, Doris had clearly suffered. She had been beaten and strangled.
The brutality of the crime shocked the community.
The investigation was intense. Police combed the area for clues.
But the killer had been careful. There was little physical evidence. Doris's family and friends were left with nothing but questions and grief. Another killer walking free. In the years following these two brutal crimes, whispers began to circulate. Rumors of a connection between the deaths of David Reed and Doris Arndt.
At first glance, the cases seemed unrelated. Different times, different methods.
But as investigators dug deeper, unsettling parallels emerged. Both victims were young, well-liked, with no obvious enemies. Both were killed on their way home. Then came the most chilling connection of all. A name that kept surfacing in both investigations.
The police won't release my name publicly, but in the small communities where these crimes occurred, secrets are hard to keep.
The suspect had alibis for both nights. Alibis that checked out, at least on the surface.
The families of David Reed and Doris Arndt were left to wonder if they would ever know the truth.
The mystery endures, a testament to the devastating impact of unsolved crimes.